Welcome to this video demo series on the second half of Chapter 9. Everything so far has been about the VMware virtual desktop infrastructure. Now we're going to implement the Microsoft virtual desktop infrastructure, and as you can see, there's a lot less going on. I have a domain controller and I have a member server. I don't have an app member server. I don't have a vCenter server as a member server in my domain. So there's no vCenter server. There's no member server running Horizons, because of course we're not running Horizons. No ESXi hosts. We could theoretically be doing this with a bunch of Hyper-V servers controlled from a server manager like this. The other thing you should see right off the bat, this is not Server 2012. The videos I did for the other system were obviously using Server 2012. This, conversely, is Server 2016 Data Center. Let's look at my member server, which is also Server 2016 Data Center. What the Data Center option gives you is more flexibility in terms of how much you can support in terms of moving other infrastructure. Be right back. Pardon me. So as I said, Data Center gives you more flexibility in terms of your virtualization. With the Standard Edition, you can have a reasonable quantity of RAM and a reasonable number of CPU sockets. And of course they both support Hyper-V, but what you get with the Data Center Edition is an unlimited capacity for server containers, Hyper-V containers, and limitation on a maximum user that's limited by usership by on the basis of the number of licenses you have. With Essentials, you really can't do any of this with Essentials, because Essentials can't join a domain. It certainly can't be a domain controller. So for something like this, particularly at a large scale, you're going to want the Data Center Edition, not Standard. So what we're going to do in this lab series, we're going to talk about installing the virtual desktop infrastructure, configuring your connection broker, running sysprep on a guest OS, creating a pool, and accessing those. Now, some of this will be okay, so the sysprep thing, we've talked about that before. One of the things you need to make System Center possible is the ADK for your target versions of Windows. In the old days, not in the old days, in the recent past, shall we say, the ADK would include sysprep by including the Windows PE, the WinPE pre-execution environment. Nowadays, sysprep is in PE, but PE is not in ADK, so you need to grab them both. And anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to take sysprep and anonymize it. Essentially to take that guest OS image and make it ready, shall we say, to receive a new set of customizations. In System Center VMM, we did this with a guest OS profile. And as it was converting things, it basically did sysprep for you under the hood. We're going to do it, I think, a little bit differently this way. So that's where we're going with this. We're going to cover activities 9, 15, 16, 18, and 19, and 20. So there may be things that are a little bit different than compared to the book. And if you want to, if you've got your server book still, there's some stuff about remote desktop services in Chapter 9 after remote access and direct access. Remote desktop services is mentioned in that remote access services chapter, because sometimes it's used with what we used to be called terminal services. It is used with, say, a VPN to allow a traveling user to tie into their own physical computer on your intranet. It can also be used this way to connect users on your local or campus area network to truly virtualized desktops. So let's get started, and thanks for watching.